The Artemis Project was published in 2019 by Grand Gamers Guild. It was designed by Daryl Chow and Daniel Rochi and illustrated by Josh Capel and Dominic Mayer.
1 to 5 players harvest resources, construct buildings, and go on expeditions in order for the colony to thrive on Europa. Players roll their dice and in turn order, place dice workers on different locations in order to perform that action. Go on an expedition or two, gain 1 to 2 toolkits, gain energy or minerals, gain a building, gain new colonists, or upgrade your colonist type. The reward depends on the pip value of your die. Toolkits allow you to do increase/decrease your die value by 1 pip per toolkit spent. In many spots, lower value dice bump higher value dice to act sooner, but with a less powerful reward. At the end of the round, each location is resolved in a fixed order. This means that things you gain at an earlier location can be spent to help you achieve your objective. For example, you gain 4 minerals, allowing you to pay the 4 die you placed on a building. Sometimes, your plans will blow up in your face. I'll talk more about this later. To break it down, place dice with specific values at locations and grow and improve your colony in order to outscore your opponents. That's the Artemis Project. Our games of the Artemis Project, including Setup and Takedown, have been around 80 minutes. Once you know what you're doing, your family and or group could play this on weeknights. Save the first game or two for weekends. This game takes up a surprising amount of space, seeing as the main board itself is rather small. You need about 3 by 4 feet if playing with more than 2 people. Most 9-year-olds could be taught the game, but the constant tactics and reevaluation of options mean this might be better for 10-year-olds. In our third game of the Artemis Project, I focused on getting buildings at the start to build a little engine throughout the game. Mom and Dad were focusing on growing their colony, so I kept trying to take resources on them to starve their people. While they fought for whatever scraps I'd left, I started hiring to fill up my endgame buildings to score big points. Unfortunately, Dad went on a few more expeditions in addition to his in-game decisions, leaving me in second place. At least I crushed Mom. The Artemis Project's components are nice and chunky wood that feel good in your hands. I wish the player boards were a bit bigger to better fit all the stuff you gain, or if the toolkits were smaller. The dice are even colorblind friendly, although mark the bluish or greenish shield and ship to better differentiate them if you're going to be playing with 5 people. The art is very pretty, and the game has good table presence. The graphic design is fine. It may trip you up in your first few games. The high amount of tactics and randomness, even with the bit of mitigation you have thanks to the toolkits, will be too much for some people. Honestly, I don't ever want to play this with more than 4 experienced gamers, and if you know me, you know, unlike my dad, I like a good amount of chaos in my games. You can be blocked out of not only the amount of things you wanted, but the actual thing itself. This could also bother people. On the bright side, in nearly all cases, you'll move up and gain rewards on the relief track. A failed expedition doesn't give you anything though, but if you're bumped from one, you gain some relief. You definitely need to balance the risk and reward of low versus high dice. There could be a lot of downtime, not because turns are complicated, but because of analysis paralysis when the game state is constantly changing. APs where players freeze when making decisions. The randomness does make this very replayable. There are also a ton of buildings, expeditions, and event cards to change things up. Scoring is a bit of a point salad. You gain points from leftover resources, fully staffed buildings, colonists, expedition badges, and more. In-game points are visible to everyone, but keep an eye on people's play areas to see what they have up their sleeves for endgame. The Artemis Project is a dice placement game with a fun theme, attractive table presence, and a lot of tactics that force players to weigh options and think on the fly. Despite the randomness, I really enjoy this game. The arc of starting with basically nothing and building your engine in a specific way, all the while dealing with events and your opponents, is very satisfying. My mom had played this solo a few times before we tried it as a group, but I wasn't especially interested in playing this. I've had mixed experiences with dice placement games, unfortunately, and I've also played a ton of build your settlement /town /whatever type of games. So I was like, oh, another? This exceeded my expectations, and I hope this video helped you decide if it's right for you.